What's up guys, my name is Natalie and welcome to my Nook of Novels. Today I'm going to be choosing my August TBR using my wheel. If you're new here, basically what I do is I just spin this wheel and whatever prompt it lands on, I choose a book based on that prompt and pick my TBR that way. Now, we haven't even started yet and this video is already a mess because I cannot for the life of me find where I have written down how many times that I'm supposed to spin for this month, because I had it all planned out how many times that I would spin for each month to add up to my book goal for the end of the year, and depending on how busy I am, certain months are more spins than others. I feel like this is crooked, but I can't even tell. We're gonna go with 6 because I'm pretty sure that might be what it is. We're just gonna guess and it'll be fine. If it turns out I spin it more times than I actually need to, then I can just not have to read all of them. But for now, we're gonna go with 6 spins. And my punishment book for the month of August. I think in order to complete my July TBR, that would involve the sun exploding and pigs growing wings. So I have a feeling that's not going to be happening, but you know, anything is possible, right? I'm just going to go ahead and pick a punishment. I added some new things to this recently. I am not looking at what it is, but there's 2 different ones here. I'm going with this one. It is, oh, the next book in the Expanse series. Okay, that's actually not bad at all. So the reason that this is in here is because those are kind of big books. However, I want to continue with that series anyway, and I really enjoyed the first book. I'm happy with that. The thing with the punishment books is not all of them are things that I'm expecting to dislike. Some of them are just big books, like you have seen. So that is definitely not the worst thing that I could have pulled out of there. So that's really exciting. So the Caliban's War by James S.A. Corey is going on the TBR. If you don't know what the first book, Leviathan Wakes, is about, I'm not sure I know what it's about either. It's been a while since I read it. This civilian spaceship gets attacked by some other ship that has Martian labels on it, I guess, and they're like, yo, Mars, you can't do that, you can't murder people. And then everyone is like, why did you accuse Mars of doing this thing? And it just basically starts this entire galaxy war, essentially. So that's exciting. Spin number 1. TBR jar. I feel like that one always comes up, which I'm fine with because it's kind of a fun prompt. So I'm going to choose 3 things out of here. I don't necessarily right this second have to decide which book I'm going to read of these 3, but I'm going to pull 3 out and I'm going to have to read one of those in the month of August. I think I might have said July a second ago. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Book number 1 is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Book number 2 is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. And book number 3 is Passionate Pilgrim. That is a Shakespeare. I disregard Shakespeare things that pop up on this TBR because I'm not actually going to read Shakespeare stuff anytime soon. So book number 3, Timon of Athens, another Shakespeare. Henry VI, part 2. I'm not reading Shakespeare. Jar, I am not reading Shakespeare. Alex Rider. Okay. So these were the 3 books that I pulled out of the jar. The first one was Frankenstein, which I'm sure most of you already know what this is about, but it's a classic and it is quite short, so I am not entirely opposed to choosing this one. Next up, which I think that I am entirely opposed to choosing, is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. It's not that I'm not incredibly excited for this book, but I'm already currently reading 2 of the biggest books on my TBR. I don't think that I need to make it 3 in the month of August, so probably not because, you know, just because. And then the third one is the first book in the Alex Rider series, which is Stormbreaker by Anthony Horowitz. I really, really enjoyed this when I read it, and I would like to continue with the series, which would involve rereading this one because I do not remember what happened. But I don't know that I want to do that right now because it's a really big series, and I would just rather wait and finish the series that I'm currently reading right now before doing that. So I think that Frankenstein is the most likely candidate. I do not replace the TBR jar prompt, so on to spin number 2. That was a really bad spin. I'm gonna do that again. Most recently acquired. So technically the most recent book that I hauled was People Kill People by Ellen Hopkins, which I'm not entirely sure what it's about, but it has something to do with gun violence, and there are parts of it that are told in poetry, which is very exciting, and I read the Crank Trilogy by Ellen Hopkins, which I really enjoyed. My friend recently gave me One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus, and this one intrigues me quite a bit because he handed it to me and was like, this is one of my favorite books, and I was like, interesting, because I've heard really bad things about this. I've heard that the ending is super disappointing, and I am not really the greatest at guessing murder mystery endings. This one could be really good. I'm pretty sure there's 5 of them, and then one of them gets murdered in a classroom. Something along those lines. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm not going to read the description because I don't like knowing too much about books before I go into them. Sorry, I keep playing with my hair weirdly. I just can't decide how I want it. Anyway, I'm probably going to go with this one. Again, I don't have to decide right this second, but this is quite likely. I'm going to replace the prompt with this one, which is the smallest book that I own. Spin number 3. Friend picks. So I'm gonna text 3 of my friends and ask them to choose a book off of my TBR from my Goodreads, and whatever they choose, I am going to read. Not all 3 of them. I'm going to pick between the 3 books that they choose and read one of those. So I don't expect them to respond immediately, so I'm just going to insert later whatever they choose. So the 3 books that my friends chose for me were The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux. I think is how you pronounce that. I'm not 100% sure. The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. And This Is Not the End by Chandler Baker. And I could pick any 3 of these, honestly, but I think the one that I'm most likely to go with is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, just because I'm probably going to have to read this soon for school anyway, and so I would rather have read it before we're going to be analyzing it so that my reading experience is more enjoyable, if that makes sense. Also, I've just been kind of excited for it recently anyway. So replacing that prompt, we are going to go with this one, which is Number Generator for book title, which came up last month as well. So basically, I'm going to generate a random number 1 to 7, and that many words has to be in the title of whatever book that I choose. I almost forgot to unpause the video, and that would have been tragic. Spin number 4. I just hit my elbow on the bookshelf when I did that. Drawn cover. So a cover that has not a photograph on it, essentially. So for this one, I'm going with The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. This is a book that I need to read before school starts because I'm borrowing it from my school library for the summer. So I definitely need to get this one on the TBR. And it is obviously not a photo. I just missed the book when I went like this. I was like, this is obviously not a photograph on the cover. It is very much illustrated / digitally created. When I say drawn cover, it doesn't mean drawn specifically, but like I said, just not a photograph on the cover. So this one definitely fits that prompt. Switching out that prompt for book with pictures, which also came up last month. So a book that has pictures in it. Spin number 5. Random backwards throw. So I'm going to lay a bunch of books on the floor and wad up a piece of paper and throw it behind me, and whichever one that it lands on, I will be reading. So here is the pile. All of these are essentially just the shortest books that I could find / continuing with series. And Looking for Alaska is a placeholder for House in Many Ways by Diana Wynne Jones. And These Violent Delights is a placeholder for Our Violent Ends, which is the sequel by Chloe Gong. So it's kind of right between these two, but I think it's mostly on Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. So Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens, this is the Junior Classics for Young Readers edition, so it has a bunch of pictures and stuff in it, and it is super short, so that is exciting. On to spin number 6. Oh, we have not switched out the prompt. Never mind, I take it back. Switching out the prompt for this one, which is add 1 book. So if this comes up, then I will have to add an extra spin, and if it comes up right now, I will have to add 2 extra spins because when I land on the same space twice in a row, I also have to add a spin. So fun times. Spin number 6. Author initials. So an author who has their initials on the cover of their book. So I definitely have quite a few options for this one. The first one being That Was Then, This Is Now by S.E. Hinton, because S.E. Hinton. The next one being One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus, because were I to choose something else for the most recently acquired prompt, I could always use this for this prompt. And I realized I have a couple other library books as well that I got after I purchased People Kill People, so I could read Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds / the Long Way Down graphic novel by Jason Reynolds and Danica Novgorodov, and I'm probably going to end up reading these alongside each other just so that I can experience both versions, so that is an option as well, so that I could get both of these in, because they were both things that I was really trying to squeeze onto the TBR. I could also read the next book in the Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis, which is The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. And last but not least, I could read The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, and it's also super short, so that is good as well. And I'm going to switch out the prompt for the final time, and it is going to be skip. So if this comes up, then I can just skip that spin. So this is the stack of books that I will most likely be reading for the August TBR, plus whatever my friends choose for me to read. So yeah, this is not too bad, honestly. 3 of these are ones that I was really hoping to get onto the TBR this month. So I am very glad that I was able to do that, and then the other ones are pretty short. Plus also the punishment book, which is Caliban's War by James S.A. Corey, which I'm really excited about. I am super excited for this TBR. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, then please hit the like button and subscribe if you would like to, and hit the notification bell if you would like to see the other videos that I post on Tuesdays. Comment down below what you're planning on reading in August. My Bookstagram and Goodreads will be linked in the description if you guys would like to check out either of those. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!